Shanna, with Christmas just a couple days away, I got a text message that's so common this time of year. It had a big shipping company's logo on it and said, "We're unable to deliver your Christmas package. Please click here to update your address and schedule a new delivery."
Oh, it happens more and more, doesn't it? Especially tricky during the holidays when everyone's looking for their packages and their gifts, and I'm sure it seemed legitimate at first.
It did for a split second, but then I paused. I wasn't actually expecting a delivery that day, and I noticed the link was weird, jumbled set of letters and numbers, not the company's real website. And there was that sense of urgency. Do this now or you won't get your Christmas gift.
And then what do?
I deleted it immediately. It was a phishing scam, plain and simple, designed to take advantage of the holiday chaos. They were trying to get me to click that link and enter my personal information on a fake website.
And those messages seem to come more and more these days, bombarding us through text, email, even social media. Learning how to spot them is no longer just a good idea. It is an absolute essential life skill, and especially during this holiday season.
Welcome to our Christmas episode of Making Sense of Your Sense. I'm Daniel Hill.
And I'm Shanna Browning. And last week we talked about what the importance of digital security is. But today we're going to really take a deep dive into the single biggest threat to that security, phishing.
And to help us understand how these scams work and how to protect ourselves, we are thrilled to welcome an expert in the field. Ben Lawson is the general manager of Burke IT. For over 25 years, his team has been dedicated to building trust relationships with their clients by providing practical and secure IT results. Ben, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you both for having me. I'm thrilled to be here. And phishing is a very important topic for all of us. It's something that we deal with here at Burke IT with our clients each and every day. Honestly, I think it's something all of us deal with each and every day. And it really has become the primary way that criminals get their foot in the door, both in our personal lives and in businesses. If you look at some of the most recent stats, I think the number is higher than 90% of all cyber attacks have some form of phishing as the initial attack vector.
And that's crazy to us, right? So that's our goal today. And when we talk phishing, we're not talking like fishing, like staying on a dock fishing. It's a different kind of fishing. But we're going to break down what that phishing is. And it's the psychological piece that scammers use to trick us. But we want to talk about the red flags so you can look for a spot to see a fake message before you even click that link.
Exactly. And Ben, let's start with a clear definition. We hear the term phishing all the time. What is it and why is it called that?
Well, phishing, and it be very clear, we're not starting with an F, we're starting with a PH, but it is that digital bait. It is that mechanism that a scammer uses. They send this out trying to hook you in to give some type of sensitive information up. They're pretending to be somebody trustworthy, somebody somebody you would relate to, and they're trying to get you to give up credentials. They're trying to get you to give up verification of your identity, access to your system. They're trying to pull you in with this bait. And we're seeing it across the board. It's no longer just emails. Phishing with a PH started with emails, but we now see it with voicemail messages and phone calls, which we call vishing with a V. We see it with text messages, and we call that smishing with an SM, so for SMS texting. And we're seeing it in social media. We're seeing it across all of the ways we communicate it with each other as a way to pull us into this trap.
So what's the goal? What are they after?
Well, really, they have a couple of main goals. One is to get you to interact. They want you to click on usually some type of embedded link or some type of embedded attachment. It's going to be something that looks very real. It's probably pointed to a website that you would trust, but that website is really fake. And when they get you there, they're trying to collect a username, a password, a phone number, or some other type of information.
And they often will make it look so legitimate, like you look like you're logging in on your bank's website, but it's not. What's their second goal, Ben?
Well, the second goal is usually twofold. One, sometimes they'll embed an attachment and they want you to interact with a document or a PDF or a Word document or something you would trust. And that usually has some type of malicious payload. So they're trying to infect your computer. And when they infect it, they're either going to use that as a resource for some type of botnet attack or some other type of malicious online activity, or they're going to gather keystrokes. They're going to watch your behavior on the computer and gather information at the keyboard and mouse level. And then the other piece is a lot of these phishing attacks have become a precursor to a longer, more involved attack, what we call business email compromise or personal email compromise, where they're trying to just simply interact with you and build trust. And they want to build trust in relationships so that at some point along the line, through one of these malicious takeover mechanisms, or just simply to redirect you, they're going to steal some information, point you to a different site, steal a money transfer, do something else rather nefarious.
And just sitting here listening to you talk about this, Ben, it's just really, really, really frustrating for us as a financial institution for what they do to our clients. But also, as employees, we've all been hit, I think, from the same way. I know at least I have been, that it just preys upon the trust in what you're trusting your bank to be and what's a familiar brand.
Oh, no question. I mean, they really are leveraging all the tools available to them today in a modern world. It's very easy to, harvest logos and reformat language and reformat email layouts. I mean, they really have become, masters of disguise. They can pretend to be anybody they want to. And that's only been exacerbated by artificial intelligence and the ease of manipulating content and duplicating individual behaviors and language patterns. So, it's not just that they're spoofing an email address, which they do very effectively, but they're spoofing us. They're spoofing us in every way you can imagine. Our cadence, our way of speech. Even with some of the voicemails, they can emulate accent and colloquial terms. They can do whatever it takes to become us.
Wow,
goodness,
that's just crazy. So Ben, as a security professional, I know these attacks aren't just technical. There's a lot more to it. They're psychological. Scammers have become experts at manipulating human emotion. What are some of the key tactics that they use to get us to, let our guard down?
I mean, that's a great question. And you really nailed it. This is not simply a technical battle. It's not a matter of, okay, we just need a better filter, or we need a better technical control, or we need a better firewall. When we talk about phishing and social engineering at this level, it really comes down to training each other and having this conversation and being aware of the threats, because it's a human factor attack. They're picking on us. I mean, one of their key mechanisms, as we talked about all these psychological factors, is they want to prey on a sense of urgency. They want you to think that something's going to happen right now, and it's either going to be really good or it's really bad. Hey, you've got an opportunity to win some money, or hey, there's a chance you're going to lose your account, or you're going to lose access to your Apple account and use your phone, or your Samsung or Google account and not have the ability to do what you need to do with your phone or your email, or it's a final warning, or something's going to be suspended. They really want you to be caught off guard and become very reactive and not proactive in how you approach that message.
So basically, it's just designed to go past your logical, rational side of your brain. You're just worried because your account's being closed. So immediately we've got to take that action, right? Just click the stop without stopping to think about it.
Exactly. I mean, it really is that. Let's force you into that reactive mode. Let's take the slow down and think about it out of the equation. And that's how we fall prey. That's how we slide into that. I mean, and then they go on to those second and third and fourth triggers. They really want to create some sense of trust or some sense of authority over you. That's why they'll start spoofing things like, the Internal Revenue Service, or we're seeing a lot of attacks where cyber criminals are pretending to be law enforcement agencies, so local sheriff's departments and police departments and the FBI and others, or a company that you trust, an organization that you do a lot of business with. So they're going to spoof, Netflix or Amazon or Google or Microsoft or someone that and you believe is legitimate. And because they have those tools to replicate websites and logos and page layouts, it's very easy for you to be familiar with that and fall right into that trap.
It's just, it just blows my
Yeah.
mind
Yeah.
at how good these people get. Not only do they go for the sense of urgency or, appealing to our trust, they also go on to a deeper level. Some of them use appeals to our emotion, fear, excitement, even romance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, the romance attacks. There's a whole. This is going to sound a little weird, but the name of the attack is called pig butchering,
Huh.
and it's been an attack that's been in play in the world for the last several years, and it's cyber criminals who start with those social engineering attacks. They prey on lonely individuals. They prey on individuals that may have just lost a loved one. They try and build some type of relationship, maybe even a romantic relationship, and that may start on a legitimate platform. Then they move you off to text messaging, or they move you off to another social media mechanism. And then it is, oh, by the way, I've got this great investment opportunity and I need you to go buy some Bitcoin. And then it just goes downhill very, very quickly, because you're not only lonely, you want to interact with another human, but they're going to prey on that emotion of, hey, I can make more money. Hey, I can retire sooner. Hey, I can access these funds. And then you're downhill.
So what I'm hearing you say through all this conversation is just that they're hitting that person, the emotions of that person, the brain rationale of that person. So it's the person they're hitting, not the computer.
Wow.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, I tell this to all of my clients, everyone that I interact with, even, and I do a lot of just general public awareness training. At the end of the day, we are the weakest link. I mean, humans are always going to be the weakest link, because we have access to all the tools. We can bypass the controls. We can make the decisions. We're at the keyboard and mouse, or we're interacting with the microphone and the camera. So we're the easiest target. We can't simply just put a lot of great cybersecurity controls on the system and assume we're going to be safe. Those are important, but those are just layers. At the end of the day, if they can bypass one of the layers, and that's us, that's the human, then they have a foot in the door, and bad things can happen.
Yeah.
Wow. So we've talked about what phishing is. It's very psychological. It's very emotional. But let's talk about the practical side a little bit, Ben. What are some of the specific red flags that people should be looking for? And let's bring it back to kind of the origin of emails or text messages. They get this text message. What are they looking for?
Well, first and foremost, you want to be thinking about, as you receive messages, as you look through your inbox, as you get those text messages, is this expected? Is it someone that I know? Is there an unusual sense of urgency? Am I being pressured to make a decision? So it's may or may not be somebody I know. Lots of times they're pretending to be someone you know. So that's not always an immediate telltale, but does the timing seem strange? Am I being pressured to do something very, very quickly that otherwise wouldn't make sense? Are they trying to take away the opportunity for me to validate legitimacy by saying it has to happen right now? We've got to make this change right now. We need this money right now. We need you to validate your credentials right now, or something bad is going to happen, or something good is going to happen. But taking away the ability to slow down and think is really that first, telltale sign that something may be a little off.
So as you said, urgency and pressure are obviously going to be the first one. So let's keep rolling. What's into that second one? What's the next thing we look for?
Well, the second thing you want to look for are some of the more practical things that hopefully we've all been talking about for a long time, and that is, does this email address look legitimate? Is the phone number legitimate? So if I get a text message and says, hey, this is Daniel, I need you to help me with this real quick, is that really coming from the contact I have in my phone? That is Daniel. Does the phone number look correct? Does the email address look correct? Cyber criminals are very good at looking at a brand, a logo, a domain name, or that URL, that address that's in the address bar, and say, if I just change a couple of characters, or if I take, I'm sitting here looking at the First Century logo, if I take away, FIRST and make that the number 1 in ST, well, that quickly tricks someone's brain into thinking this is legitimate. So it's good to just slow down and look and say, is this what I have always expected? And hopefully, we've got tools in place. You're looking to see, if this is a message that's coming from inside my organization or appears to come from someone inside my organization, but that little banner is up there that says, hey, this came from outside your organization, is something a little off. And we have those controls with our personal lives as well. So we can look at, at Google or Outlook or whatever email mechanism we use and say, hey, is that banner up there that says this looks a little fishy? Something seems off from your previous communications. Take time to stop and think, and hey, is this legit, or did someone I know actually have to change their email address, or is this a phish? Is this nefarious?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it pays to pause.
Yeah, slow down.
Just slow down for a minute. And that kind of brings us to the links themselves, doesn't it, Ben?
Oh, it does. I mean, we have had a campaign here for many years at Burke IT. We actually 3D print keychains for our youth engagements and for our community engagements that say, think before you click. And it's just a common sense thing we all can do in every part of our digital lives is look at that link, hover your mouse over it. Is it going where it says it's going? Does the URL make sense? Is this someone that would normally ask me to click on a link, or would they interact with me in a different way? We have a lot of ways to say today in this world, hey, why is this organization sending me an email when I have an app on my phone? Why are they trying to get me to click a link when normally I would do this through the app that I've downloaded or the website that I know and trust? So you really stopping before you click and thinking about, why am I interacting this way? Does the address seem correct? If I hover over it, is it going where it says it's going? All of those common sense things that can hopefully take some of the ammunition away from the bad guys.
Well, and that's certainly an interesting thing you say, because I know how Daniel and I interact. So if he ever sent me something very formal, I'm going to be like, that is not
that is
Daniel.
not me, not
that is
at
not
all.
Daniel. So I get what you're saying exactly right there. If you're interacting, you should know what that interaction is like. So let's roll into the next one. Tell us about the content of what that message or email, text message, anything like that. Tell me what that looks like.
Well, and Shannon, you just touched on it. It's, if you get content that seems very formal or very casual, and that's not the way the person normally interacts with you, that's an immediate red flag. If I get, a 12-page email from one of the engineers here at the office, and normally I'm getting, 3 words that are acronyms, then something's a little off. We used to say, look at it, is the title what we would expect? Is the English not accurate, or does it seem like English from another part of the world? AI sort of taken that factor away from us, and because the cyber criminals can just simply pretend to be someone from East Tennessee and emulate us very, very effectively. So really, you're going beyond the syntax and the punctuation and the language, and you're saying, is this how I normally interact with that person? I interact with the CEO of one of my bank clients differently than I interact with one of the engineers at one of my bank clients. So you have to really think, is this a normal conversation? Is this how we would normally communicate?
Well, and I think you said that really well, that AI is changing everything. So I think that's right.
So we've talked about the sense of urgency. Do it quickly. Where is it coming from? The links that are included, the content, and even more so, the content is the method of communication, how they're communicating. What would you consider, and let's bring it back to the financial side of things. What is one of the most important rules of all when you're looking at correspondence from a bank? First Century Bank sends you an email. What do you want to be aware of when you get that email?
I mean, first and foremost, no legitimate organization, no legitimate company, no financial institution, certainly not First Century Bank, is going to ever ask you to provide sensitive information over email or over text.
100%. Yep.
That's not going to happen. Organizations are mature enough. They know the threats that their clients face, that their customers face. So they're going to interact with you in an appropriate way. So think about who you're interacting with and what they're asking, and realize that's never going to happen for a legitimate organization. The police department's never going to contact you and say, you need to pay a fine via credit card over the phone right now, or we're going to arrest you. That's not how these things work. So if it seems unusual, if it seems like a demand, if it seems urgent, and they're pretending to be someone trustworthy and legitimate, like your financial institution, like a law enforcement agency, like a government entity, like a well-known online retailer, and they're asking for something that seems completely out of bounds. Stop, think, go to your statement, go to your bank statement and find that phone number and call and ask a question. Find a legitimate website that you type in that is safe and legitimate, and verify the information that's being requested. Do not react to that sense of urgency.
Well, and I think sometimes too, I'm going to jump in here real quick, but I think sometimes too, even most people forget that there's a phone number on the back of that debit card.
Right.
Call that debit card. That's going to link you to us real quick from a banking perspective. That will help answer the questions if you feel scared about that. But I think people just forget there's a phone number on the back of that card.
Well, and to that point too, that kind of goes against the culture that we've kind of created is, hey, you can do this online, or you can do this through email, or, sometimes, like Ben said, it's okay to pick up the phone and call.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that is a generational barrier that I think we all fight. So there's an entire generation of individuals that have grown up with smart devices in their pocket and know that they can text and they can email and they can go to an app or they can go to a browser and have really lost that skill of, hey, I can talk to a human and find out some very valuable information.
Yeah, we've
great point.
We use our phone for everything but a phone. So,
that's a true story.
Ben, this has been incredibly helpful. Thank you so much. Now it's time to get into this week's actionable tip.
All right. So in listening to Ben talk and got us a little bit. So the action item this week for you all to look at is to adopt the stop, look, and verify habit. Again, stop, look, and verify. So the next time you receive an unexpected email or a text asking you to do something, we want you to consciously practice this 3-step process. Stop, look, and verify.
So the first thing you're going to do in that is you're going to stop. Don't immediately click or reply. Fight that sense of urgency the scammer is trying to create. Just take a deep breath and pause.
Count to 10 if you have to count to 10. Work it out. Stop. Next one, look. What are those red flags? Look for those red flags we just talked about and that Ben covered. Check the sender's address. Look at that email. Hover over the links. Read the message carefully. Is it generic? Is it formal? How do you interact with that person? Are there spelling mistakes? And trust your gut. Trust your gut. Does it feel off? And if it does, again, trust your gut.
And thirdly, probably the most important, verify. If you're still not sure if the message is real, verify it through a separate, trusted channel. Don't reply to the email or call the phone number in the message. Instead, open a new web browser, go directly to the company's official website, or call the official customer service number you have. Like Shanna mentions, on the back of your debit card or your credit card. Ask them if they sent you that message.
I think that's important, is having that conversation. So if we look at practicing this stop, look, and verify habit for just a few times will help build a powerful mental muscle that can protect you from the vast majority of phishing scams.
That's exactly right. Ben, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your invaluable experience.
Yeah, Ben, this is great information for us as employees too.
No, thank you both. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. And, it is important for us to know that not only are we the biggest risk, but we can also be the most important tool in keeping an organization, keeping ourselves secure. So, use those tools that you've learned today. And I think you'll be a lot better off. It's always good to have this conversation.
Yeah, it's great information. Great information. I think sometimes people just are afraid to ask or I'll just do it now and then we'll work it out. And it's a lot easier to pause, like Daniel said, a lot easier to pause than it is to have to try to fix something that's just going sideways. So as we roll into the next one, next week, we're going to talk about the other ways to protect your identity from threats like elder fraud, which is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and then synthetic ID theft.
From our First Century Bank family to yours, we want to wish everyone a safe and very Merry Christmas. We hope it's a wonderful time with your loved ones. Please stay vigilant with all your online shopping and your communications.
We sure do. We wish you a Merry, Merry Christmas, and thank you for making us a part of your holiday week. Wherever you listen, please subscribe and send us your questions at podcast@fcbtn.com. And I'm Shanna Browning.
And I'm Daniel Hill. Go out and make some sense of your sense.